The member for Flinders.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I rise to speak on this unfathomably sad condolence motion for the member for Dunkley, Peter Murphy. Peter was my neighbour, with Dunkley's southern border meeting the northern border of Flinders, and together we shared responsibility for the glorious Mornington Peninsula. For that reason, we interacted pretty regularly on infrastructure, on shire and developmental matters. We shared the boundless joy of citizenship ceremonies and the quiet glee and gratitude that together we looked after the most beautiful part of Australia. Peter was awesome in every sense of the word. I first met her and her partner Rod Glover some 20-odd years ago when we were all kids in political terms. And when I found her again here, she was formidable, established in her space, forceful in her passions, proud and persuasive in her achievements, and yet, for what I could sense, still as gleefully in love today as she was back then. You are a lucky bloke, Rod. I know it won't feel like it at the moment. Peter was remarkable, and you are a lucky man. She was equally a remarkable presence in this place. She listened to my speeches, often more closely than she should have. Every time there was a chink in the armour, a slight deviation from the party line, Peter would notice and would often offer a quiet word of praise or encouragement. "They need you," she said one day over her shoulder. And I'm not quite sure if that was praise for me or an attack on us, but I appreciated the fact that she listened and noticed and never, ever let anything slip by. A week ago, Peter and I were due to do a short video together promoting the Victoria Blue Ribbon Foundation Gala Dinner to be held at the Mornington Racecourse next year. Peter and her team had already committed to going, so we thought we'd give it a bit of a plug together and suggest people might want to buy a ticket for Christmas. I know she'd still want me to give that plug, and so I will. The inaugural Blue Ribbon Gala will be held on the 27th of July next year and will honour those who have died serving their community. How very fitting. It will be the premier event for the Victoria Police Blue Ribbon Foundation of the Peninsula, and it will raise funds to provide 2 ECMO machines and train specialists at Frankston Hospital, a place most dear to her. When Peter was laid low last week with fatigue, I said, "Don't worry, Peter, we'll do the video together next week." And so here it is. I am doing the video plug with Peter. I just really wish she were here. I hope perhaps now our local community will get behind this cause in her honour. I know I will. It is precisely because she was so persistently dedicated to the many causes around her, those that defined her in this place, but also those which defined her locally as well, that in the last 48 hours I have reached out to those in our community and among our community groups to whom she was so dear, to ask if I might carry their words into this place, to ensure their gratitude for her contribution endures through time. From our Mornington Peninsula Shire Mayor, Simon Brooks. Peter was a passionate champion for this region, and it was a privilege to work with her on a range of local issues. We worked with Peter on matters such as road funding and public transport, and she was instrumental in helping Council forge valuable connections in Canberra. One of the major projects we worked on with Peter is the redevelopment of Emil Madsen Recreation Reserve in Mount Eliza. Peter worked hard to secure $15 million in Commonwealth funding for a major expansion of sporting infrastructure at the reserve. As a result of Peter's advocacy for our community, the lives of countless local residents who use the reserve will be enriched for many years to come. Her work ethic was inspiring. We last met with Peter to discuss public transport and infrastructure funding just 4 weeks ago. Peter's energy, determination and dedication were appreciated by all who met her. It was clear she cared deeply about her constituents. She was respected by people from all sides of politics for her hard work on behalf of the community and will be sadly missed. Former Mayor, Councillor Steve Holland, added a few private words. Peter loved her community and loved her job. We will be forever grateful for the positive difference she made in the lives of everyone she represented. We have lost a passionate champion who always embodied the very best of our community. Frankston City Council Mayor Nathan Conroy also provided some words to me. It is with deep sadness that we honour our federal member for Dunkley, Peter Murphy MP, following the news of her passing. We remember Peter for her fierce determination and commitment to deliver the very best for our community. As our local federal MP, Peter was a tenacious and inspirational representative. We were fortunate to work closely with Peter on numerous projects. Just days ago, I joined her on a freezing Frankston morning to announce funding for a new car park. She was still smiling, still witty and still fiercely determined to deliver for her community. She was, to the very end, both fearless and tireless in her work, the very best example of elected representation. Peter's passing diminishes us all, yet she also left a rich and lasting legacy in Frankston City that will stand the test of time. The recently formed Committee for Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula, President Shannon Smith and CEO Josh Sinclair said, "Peter Murphy served her community in Dunkley with great distinction. Her service will be defined by her tireless work ethic, her sharp wit and her incredible intellect. No matter who you were in our community, Peter always had time for you. She would treat you with respect, dignity and always make you want to be her friend. Peter constantly stood up for people who didn't have the ability to stand up for themselves. Her commitment to social justice was not just through her words, she lived it every single day. Peter spoke out against inequity and exploitation, and she was passionate about making a difference for our region. The committee was fortunate enough to host Peter for an event with our members just last month. Peter was knowledgeable, witty and generous with her time, and up for a debate about local commitments and advocacy projects." On a more personal note, Josh, who has been a friend of Peter's for many, many years, added, "Peter was without a doubt one of the hardest working people I have ever met. Her energy, time and commitment constantly astounded me, but she didn't know any other way. Her humour was also something I will always remember, as I will her ability to disarm even the most ardent of Liberal voters on the street. I first met Peter in my days as a local Labor branch member in her electorate, and we got to know each other a bit better when I was in the 2019 Labor candidate for Flinders. As neighbouring candidates, Peter went above and beyond in supporting me. She always had wise advice and didn't waste an opportunity in spruiking an announcement or talking up her community. I was so proud to see her elected to Parliament in 2019. Peter's health battles were well known, but she never let those battles define her. She stared them face on and fought hard the only way she knew. Peter is one of the strongest people I've ever known. May she be remembered for her courage, her strength and her service to our community, and may she now rest in peace." Peter was widely admired on my side as well by those who preceded her and served with her in this place. The great Bruce Bilson, who served as member for Dunkley for 20 years until his retirement in 2016, said the passing of Peter Murphy is a tragic loss for her family, friends and the Dunkley community and our nation. A generous heart with a sincere commitment to service. My thoughts and condolences go to Peter's loved ones and to the many of us who admire and will miss her. Dunkley has lost a warrior for our community. Chris Cruther briefly held the seat before Peter snatched it off him, and he said, "As the state member for Mornington with an electorate that now overlaps with Dunkley, as Dunkley's former MP, as a fellow parliamentarian and a local resident and constituent of Peter Murphy, I'd like to give my sincere condolences to Peter's husband Rod, all her family, including her beloved poochers, her Labor Party colleagues and members, fellow parliamentarians who have been serving with her, and all her many friends." Peter Murphy battled hard against metastatic breast cancer for years. And Chris goes on to say, "Peter Murphy and I have a long history together. We stood against each other twice for the federal electorate of Dunkley. In 2016, I defeated Peter, and in 2019, Peter defeated me. There's a certain symmetry about that. While we were opponents, I also greatly respected Peter and her hard work, tenacity, effort, intellect and community-mindedness, both while she was a candidate and since becoming the member for Dunkley, in all that she did. She will be greatly missed." In a personal note, some of Chris's then staff, who later went on to work for Greg Hunt and now work for me, remarked that at the declaration of Peter's win in 2019, Peter thanked the former staff who had worked for the Dunkley electorate office, and among the excitement of her election, she took time to empathetically acknowledge the harsh reality that her electoral success meant those staff had lost their jobs. It was a small gesture that meant a lot to those who were passing on the electoral baton to a new member and her team. My predecessor, Greg Hunt, wanted me to say today, "I'm deeply sorry to hear of Peter's passing. She was strong and brave and a genuinely passionate, caring and effective local member. With all my best wishes for her family, friends and colleagues." There are so many messages from our local organisations who loved her so much. Jodie Bellier from the Women's Spirit Project said Peter backed us from 2018 when she was campaigning for the seat of Dunkley. Once she got over the need for Team Teal to give her hugs and get in her personal space, she embraced us wholeheartedly to become our ambassador. She backed the Women's Spirit Project to never give up, to be courageous in our endeavours to offer free programs that support women doing it tough in and across the Frankston-Mornington Peninsula region. She was a role model to many within our community, engaging authentically with people from all walks of life, bringing politics to people and giving us hope. She was brave, kind and strong, every inch of her life to making the world a better place. You will be missed. Fly high, Peter. Ross Kilbourne. the past president of the Mornington Rotary Club, said, "I found Peter to be one of the most approachable and general persons I've ever met. Whether it was national issues like at the local level, such as homelessness, or local issues like the Peninsula Trail, Peter made the time available to hear and understand her community. She sincerely took the matter on and enjoyed its effective representation. Rotary had a real friend in Peter, someone who lived the Rotary maxim and really did put service above self." I also received words from those well and truly in Peter's patch who will miss her greatly, such as the Frankston District Netball Association. Our Frankston Netball and Peninsula Waves families are saddened to learn of Peter's passing. Peter believed in girls and women's sport and encouraged us to demand equity. She played an instrumental role in the delivery of our new home at Jubilee Park Stadium. Peter's advice, encouragement and fierce advocacy gave voice to netballers from grassroots to the elite, from 5 years old to seniors. She respected and valued everyone equally. But above all, Peter was our friend. She was the Waves' #1 ticket holder and cheered the teams on at almost every home game and event. Netball in our region is better for having learned from Peter. We will miss her dearly. Our members send our sincere condolences to Rod and to Peter's family. She was a true champion. Similar words came from the Frankston Footy Club. Everyone associated with the club has been overwhelmed with a sense of pride as we have witnessed Peter keenly continue to work for her community and selflessly fight for others right up until the very end of her own battle. Peter was a great friend to the Frankston Football Club, advocating strongly and effectively to support our long-term future. She was a passionate advocate for the advancement of women's football program, which has progressed in leaps and bounds since being introduced just 4 years ago. There are so many more I could cite here today, but I know our time is tight, and we could perhaps fill a week of tales and celebrations of what she has achieved in this place, and that's just on my side. So today I will finish with the words of the Chief Advocate of the Alliance for Gambling Reform, Reverend Tim Costello, Dunkley resident, to whose goals Peter directed so much of her time in her last year in this place, because he sums it up so well. Peter was a friend, a neighbour and a gambling reform champion. Peter was the bravest woman I know, serving the community until the very end.